Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Bookmark and welcome to Summer Reading with your children. And let's get started right off the bat with a great poem by Maya Angelou from a book by Tom Feeling's Soul Looks Back in Wonder. And the poem goes like this. I love the look of words. Popcorn leaps, popping from the floor of a hot black skillet into my mouth. Black words leap, snapping from the white page, rushing into my eyes, sliding into my brain, which gobbles them the way my tongue and teeth chomp the buttered popcorn. When I have stopped reading, ideas from the words stay stuck in my mind like the sweet smell of butter perfuming my fingers long after the popcorn is finished. I love the book, the look of words, the weight of ideas that popped into my mind. I love the tracks of new thinking in my mind. And here we have a young student showing us the new tracks of new thinking in her mind. And that's what summer reading with your children is all about. Now, for the parents that know me and for the students that know me, you know me as Dr. Bookmark. Before that, I was the principal of the Harvard-Kent School in Charlestown. And for the last 2 years, I've been running the Dr. Bookmark BPS Time to Read campaign. It's in its second year, and it's supported by Dr. Johnson and the Boston Public School system. And what I do is I go in to schools, I conduct assemblies, I visit kids, all with one purpose, to inspire and engage them in reading, to read every night at home, to have parents read to their children every night at home. And this campaign is focused on children from K to 3. So for all of you that know me, I have to spin my propeller, and you know what you say when I do. And those that don't know me will soon find out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I love to read. Now, parents, summer reading is very, very crucial in terms of developing your child into a lifelong proficient reader. The programs that I'm offering this summer will help you with certain activities that'll make literacy fun and engaging for your family. There is something out there in the world called the summer reading gap, and we have to eliminate that. The summer reading gap simply means if your child does not read over the summer or is not read to over the summer, they can lose up to 4 months of the reading skills they developed in the year before. And we do not want that to happen, especially when reading grows your imagination, grows your vocabulary, grows your love of knowledge. And so there's going to be four programs. Tonight's program, How to Beat That Gap, by talking to 2 Boston parents and discovering what their home reading routines are during the year and during the summer. The next program will be on libraries, how they support home reading. Then we'll have one on talk and storytelling and how that influences home reading. And finally, we'll have one on writing and how to support writing during the summer with your child. So let's get started by meeting 2 fabulous parents, Boston parents, Hillary Crane Stern and Vernay Wilkinson. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
It's so good to see parents.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. This is our first program, so we all have a little jitters here. I know I do, so if you have them, that's okay, but we'll get over it real quickly because we're going to go right into home reading at your house, Hillary, and home reading at your house, Vernay. So let's start with you, Hillary. What's it like during the year, and what do you anticipate home reading looks like during the summer?
Well, during the year, we have a reading log that we have to fill out every week that is actually really helpful during the school year. And we also use that in the summertime, and that means we just fill out the name of the book and the amount of time that we read. So that's one thing that makes it helpful. I think if you have a routine, that is the best way to go about it. So we, at night, sit down and sometimes it's usually, in bed, we're laying there and we're reading and I do the read aloud or Max will take the book and read some pages, but it's mainly done in the evening. So then we know that after everything is finished, that's what we are going to do.
So I'm hearing routine's important. That's a
Yes.
very important thing, to establish a routine at home, get a certain time, maybe at night, where this is comfortable for both the parent and the child, but it happens all the time. Renee, how about your household? What's it look like there?
I agree that the reading routine really helps. So bedtime is a popular time for us as well to do the reading, sitting at the bed and picking the stories and just kind of quieting down for the day to enjoy that story, and also have a little bit of time to talk about what the story was about, or take time to look at the pictures and find details in the illustrations. So the bedtime reading routine is very important to us.
So again, it's very similar, and I like this notion that there's a calming effect. Talk a little bit about that calming effect, Renee, in terms of reading with your child.
Sure. My daughter is 6, so with younger children, just the predictability of routine. They know what to expect after dinner, after bath time. They know it's time to read. So at that point, television's definitely off and toys are put aside, and it just helps them to know what to expect, and also just helps the family come together and just start to get ready for the next day. And it's a very distinct and pleasant way to end the day together as a family.
Well, I am in the schools all year long, and here we are out in the summer, but I remember as school was closing, we were all going, summer, 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 oh, we all love summer. But the gap can occur during the summer. That's when we can lose our reading skills for children, even the young children before school. We want to establish that routine of reading. What's it like in the summer? Because there's all kinds of activities that are going on in the summer for us, and we also have this continual situation with maybe we're a little tired sometimes. What's it look like in the summer for you, or what's it going to be like?
Well, this summer has been great. What we're doing is, again, keeping the consistency. Bedtime might be later, but it still happens before bedtime. It may be dark later. You can go outside, play basketball. You can come in and play on the computer. I think what also helped me was realizing, and this what happened in the beginning too, when you first start reading with your child, 20 minutes seems like forever. And so Max is now 8. But at first it feels like a long time. But if you get into that reading 15 minutes, and then you move to 20, and now we can read for much longer periods of time because Max is used to that. So I think that's one important piece. The other important piece is it can become overwhelming to think, every night we have to do this, and do I have to get rid of everything else, and never watch a television, never turn on an iPad or a tablet? No, it just means that you need to make sure you're dedicating a portion of the time that you're at home to reading. It doesn't negate everything else. I think that's an important piece.
Beautiful. Renee?
Well, I think for this upcoming summer, we'll have to be thinking about taking trips to the library, because during the school year, that's a part of my daughter's routine, that the class goes to the library throughout the week. So being that she won't have the access to the school library throughout the summer, we can go to our public library, or we can kind of work with the books that we have at home, and almost, I could see us maybe working out some sort of system where we're pretending that we're checking out books, even books that we own. It would be a playful way to continue summer reading throughout the while school year's over.
So I'm hearing so many positive things here. I mean, obviously going to the library is essential, and having a Boston Public Library card is really very important. And something that you mentioned, Hillary, that I think is really crucial, that routines do. We can start reading aloud to our children for 5 minutes, and build up. And what we're building up is stamina. And when we build up stamina, we build up focus. And as we build up focus, we also build up balance, because we can have the balance between TV, we can have the balance between computer time and all those things, but we want that stamina because we want children to be able to focus on books. Now, speaking of that, reading is a special thing. And you have to bring people into the act of reading. You have to sell your books. You have to have energy for books. How do parents do that? How do you do read aloud with your child? What tips can you offer the parents out there, Vernee, about reading to your child?
I have to give my husband a lot of credit for doing the majority of bedtime reading. But the bedtime reading that I do with my daughter, I feel that our bedtime reading is kind of more cozy and comforting, and bedtime reading that she does with my husband is more animated because he has all the skills and insight for voices and things like that that I'm not necessarily, it's not necessarily my personality, but for when I'm reading with her, she can crawl into my lap and she can get cozy, and she likes to turn the pages and hold the book for me. And if anybody else is there listening to the story, she wants to make sure everybody can see the photos or see the picture. Sometimes we'll do a bedtime story with my mom on FaceTime. So my daughter still wants to make sure that my mom can see the picture and enjoy the story with us. So it's a very comforting sort of
So
time.
get right up on mom's lap.
Yes.
Dad'll do the characters later
Yes.
on, but right now, get comfy with
Yes.
mom. And you know, that whole notion of being cozy with books and on the lap and with a book really is another driving force in this love of literacy that children pick up from their parents. Hillary, what about you? What do you do with Max?
So I love doing voices. I love being animated and getting really into the book and doing all different characters, because I think it can get to be difficult to draw everybody in and make sure this is happening each night. So there are different strategies everybody uses to keep it going. So I think for me, I love doing the voices, and so
So, Hillary, let's hear some voices.
I brought a book.
There you go.
And
This is wonderful.
why don't I just choose this random page here? So this is a story. It's called From the Mixed Up Files of Ms. Basil E. Frankweiler. And it's a wonderful story about these siblings who run away to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and it's an adventure, and they learn lots of they learn a lot about pieces in the museum and secrets, and it's a really great book. The wonderful part when you're reading it as an adult is to see the connection between the siblings. And so here's a part where James, and his name is Jamie, and Claudia are talking about the money that they don't have to travel with. As soon as they reached the sidewalk, Jamie made his first decision as treasurer. "We'll walk from here to the museum." "Walk?" Claudia asked. "Do you realize it's over 40 blocks from here?" "Well, how much does this bus cost?" "The bus? Who said anything about taking a bus? I'm taking a taxi." "Claudia, you're quietly out of your mind. How could you even think of taking a taxi? We have no more allowance, no more income, no more money, and it's our money, and we don't have any of it. Remember?" So basically,
Read
going
more,
back
Mommy.
and forth.
Oh, no, okay. Excuse
thanks.
me.
What an honor.
Excuse me. Now, Hillary, that was fantastic. So there's a range.
Yes.
But I had this feeling by listening to you and also listening to you, Vernee, that there's some thought about going and picking the book and maybe knowing the book a little
Yes.
bit better. And,
Yes.
because sometimes we just try to read cold and it doesn't work.
Yes.
We don't have to prep too much, but we should try to pick some books that we like and maybe have spent a
Agreed.
little time with.
Yes.
Now, I just want to take that notion of spending time with books and move it to the other part of home reading at night, and that is independent reading, voluntary reading. This is where you're not reading to the child now, but for those children that have learned to read and are beginning readers, they read on their own for 10 or 15 minutes. What's it like in your house? What's independent or voluntary reading like at home?
So Eden's in kindergarten, so she'll choose a book at her reading level, which is most often something along the lines of a Dr. Seuss book, like Go Dogs Go, which was also one of the first books that I learned to read with as a child, so it has a connection there. I always enjoy reading it with her. And it'll just be her going through the book and reading, and if there's a word that she needs help with, we'll stop and try to sound it out. But if that's still frustrating for her, we can tell her the word and, learn to repeat the word. But if we sense frustration, we'll try to meet her halfway. You want her to learn, but you don't want her to become overwhelmed.
So with a child that's 5 or kindergarten, it's almost like shared reading. You're right next to her. You're giving her that sense.
Sure.
What about you, Hillary? When Max is a little older, do you read alongside with him sometimes your own book? Because the research seems to indicate that parents that model reading and the child sees the parent reading, they get that as a value in the house. I mean, if the child's the only one reading, very soon they might just put the book down. We need adults to be reading. So what's it like in your house?
Well, I think this is where my wife is great at this. She has a stack of books beside her side of the bed and just has been reading the one, and then I think Max sees that, and then he has in the past, this has been incredible to see in the past month, started out reading the Big Nate books on his own individually, so not just at night reading together. He has picked them up and hasn't put them down, and they're very similar to the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And I think 2 points. One is he'll see Meg reading and then want to emulate that, but also he'll carry them everywhere, kind of as a prop or a security blanket or a safety, like it seems really comfortable. So whether we're going somewhere in the car, he'll carry that, or I'll see him on the couch kind of flipping through and I'll hear him giggling, and it's so great to hear him laughing at that as opposed to SpongeBob, which is a great show, but it's definitely great to hear him giggling and reading.
So we have a range here again. And this is what I think is most important for parents to know, is that there are no right and wrong ways to do home reading. There's no perfect routine. There's no way to read aloud. There's no way to do independent reading. But there are tips that parents can give each other. And I think parent-to-parent learning is gigantic. So let's go to this
Can I add
notion.
one other thing about
well,
the-
hold
Oh,
on
sorry,
just
yeah.
for a second, just for a second. But because I want to get to this, and maybe you can incorporate it in to the next question.
Yep.
How do we surround our children with books? What ways do you surround your children with books, Renee?
So one idea is to have a basket, books, and a bed lamp. So the idea being that when you have the basket, it can be in the bedroom, but the idea that it's simple and portable, it can go from the bedroom to the living room, or my daughter, she likes to bring books into the bathroom. So wherever she wants to go or wherever she's spending time, the book basket is easy to take along, and having the bed lamp can be part of the routine where maybe the child helps pick out the lamp and it's something that is exciting to them, and they turn on the lamp and settle into that moment.
So it's just a basket filled with books, and you can move it around the house, right?
Yes.
And a cool little lamp. Not a lot of cost here.
No.
No, not
Lots of flexibility.
Lots of flexibility, and that seems great. So that's called basket, books, and bed lamp.
Yes.
Terrific idea. Hillary, how do you surround Max with books, and maybe you want to incorporate that book there?
Yes. So the way we did it in a very similar way to Vernay for a long time, having many books and going through one after the other. But I think now that he's into more chapter books, he's able to literally walk around, and he always knows where that book is, but because it's become such an important part of him that he knows where his books are. The one other thing I have to say is, and this has been really neat to watch Max, learning how to read and different levels. I think that no matter what, and this is like when you were talking about a tip to a parent, that instead of making anyone feel bad about what they're not doing, it's to celebrate what the kids are doing. And I think that that's such an important piece, because you can feel like there's so many ways to feel like a failure as a parent, as we both know, I'm sure. And I think the best way is to look at whatever they're reading is great, whether it is a billboard or a comic book. And that's what the point I was going to make earlier is just that whatever they're reading is great. And so this is called The Lunch Lady, and it's a comic book. And at first I was thinking, oh my goodness, he's reading comics. Is this okay? And then I thought, wait, he's reading.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Well,
So-
comic books, and even in the schools, I tell students that comic books are fine. I mean, the mix of books is
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Newspapers, magazines,
yes.
And balancing it off with TV and balancing it
Yeah.
off with computer and
Right.
finding that balance. It's the home that finds that balance. It's the home that works with the child, that creates
Yes.
and nurtures that balance. And so, like, as we near the end of our first program, first of all, you have shared tremendous information as parents to other parents out there, and to me also. The routine, so important. Establish it. You can't be right, you can't be wrong. Start with
Exactly.
5 minutes.
Exactly.
You'll build stamina.
Yes.
Make sure you have both read aloud and independent reading going. Don't worry so much about TV and computers. They're a part of the whole environment that kids are used to. Video games, it's about finding the balance. It's not a right or a wrong.
Exactly.
But in the end, books have to have a strong role at home.
Yes.
Am I representing what you've said?
Absolutely.
Yes.
No question.
Now, parents, for you, there is a website, drbookmark.com. You can go on the computer, tap in I guess, 3 W's, drbookmark.com, and this wonderful website comes up. And what you'll see on the website are many, many things. There are videos on home reading that kind of capture what Vernay and Hillary have said tonight. There are videos on fluency, and fluency has to do with what Hillary was doing earlier, reading with expression, reading accurately, letting your voice and your face just manifest a love of language. That's on the website. There's a book site. You can see all the books that Dr. Bookmark uses in the school. You click on the book, it'll take you to another children's literacy site. You'll be able to find all the Boston Public Libraries on the site. You'll find all the news about Boston Public School libraries on the site. It's rich. We're adding to it every single day. So I'm so happy that you're here tonight, here in Dr. Bookmark's home reading room. And I just want to close by saying this. You'll never go wrong with home reading. If you don't do it, that's fine. Think about starting it. And when I say starting it, start it in English, start it with your native language. All languages are beautiful. Read aloud, tell stories to your children. Read on your own in front of them. Make books come alive. Start small and you'll see it grow. And what you'll also see is this. Your child will begin to really, really become a proficient reader, advance in school, their writing will get better, their conversations will get deeper. And as you read as a family at night, you open up this wonderful quiet space. And that quiet space is yours. So as we move off of this show, I want to thank Hillary, I want to thank Vernay for being here, and next time I will see you when we have librarians here to tell us how they support home reading. So long kids, so long parents, keep reading, you have the fever, and one last time, 1, 2, 3, I love to read.